And then I'm going to remove the spotlight for myself. So here we have Sean Forbes running for governor.
Oh,
Sean, tell us why you're doing this and
Michelle,
everything you're about. Yeah.
did you want me to time it?
Oh, yeah. We're going to have you speak for 3 minutes, and then we'll have about 5 minutes of Q&A.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. So just to start, I'm Sean Forbes. I'm the chair of the California National Party that's existed from 2015, and I'm running for governor of the state of California. The major reasons why I'm running for the governorship of California are basically the same as your organization. One, we need to make sure CalCare happens. We need to put that through. Now, we've been hearing about an $18 billion deficit that's going to be used against that program, right? They're going to say we don't have the money, we can't afford it, et cetera, et cetera. Well, we can. We're the fourth largest economy in the world. Fifth, maybe, depending on like the metrics. But either way, we're close to or equal to Germany. We can have universal health care in the state of California. And also, we can definitely have health care in the state of California if we get the $83 billion back that we send out to red states and the federal government, which we don't see in return. We have a lot of hateful red states, apartheid states, people that worship Charlie Kirk. They take our money, they despise our way of life. And what they do with the money, God knows what. We need to actually bring that back home. The 83 billion needs to come back to California. There are mechanisms that can be done. For example, the state of New York has the Recourse Act that's going through its legislature. That Recourse Act is supposed to take back the money to New York from the federal government. We could do something similar if we actually have the imagination and the vision actually to make that happen. We need to make sure we can pay for our people's health care. Again, the California National Party, if you're not familiar with it, look up votecmp.org. It is a party that is, yes, about independence from the federal government. I want to make that clear. We are done with this entire system. We're done with the compromises. We're done with the surrenders. We want to actually go our own way. And if we actually have, at least as a start, the $83 billion back to our nation state of California, we can make things happen. We can actually better our community and our lives here. So that's the first thing I will lead off with. But the second thing, and again, almost as important, or actually, I would say more important, is because of this how timely it is right now. We do have an effort by the federal government to put forward ICE gangs throughout California. They're kidnapping people, they're attacking workers, they're stealing them off the streets. I want to make sure that we actually combat this. We can do this in the state of California already before independence. We should make sure there's a state of emergency where we let every community know that ICE is in the area, that they're operating. We should prevent them from operating as best we can up into the absolute limit of the law, quote unquote. We should also have the California State Guard, which is separate from the National Guard of California. It can never be federalized, it can never be taken over controlled by Trump and company. Have the State Guard come out and actually oppose ICE at every turn them into the cops when they're wearing masks, make sure that actually ICE activities are always watched, categorized, observed, and told to the community that they're here. So that would be the top two things I would do as governor. And then finally, I would just want to say too that I believe every single thing that was said in the beginning about Bernie Sanders and those points of interest, those need to happen. My only difference with Bernie and other Democratic socialists right now is that it's never going to happen in the United States. I have no belief in that whatsoever. And again, we can debate that, we can talk about that. But I would say that if you're with me in the idea of like what we could do now before independence, let's try to get there and then have that conversation. Let's actually make that happen in the future.
I'm sorry, that's 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, and hopefully we can have a California socialism. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much, Sean. Yeah, hopefully. Um, um, so that's great. We've talked a lot, and I'm going to give the opportunity to everyone else to ask you questions right now. I do have something on my mind, but I'm hoping someone else asks before I do. So, does anyone have any questions?
5 minutes for questions.
I do, but I can't raise my hand.
Okay, go for it,
How
Stephanie.
about me? Am I able to do so or what?
Oh,
Who is
yeah,
it?
oh, sure. And Enrique, sure. Yeah, you can ask. We can all
Yeah,
ask
thank
questions.
you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Sean, this goes to you. So, you are a member of the California Nationalist Party. Are they the party that want California to succeed from the union?
Secede from the federal government, absolutely. That is the one I got started in 2015.
Okay, so I have a question. I know that California is the fifth largest economy in the world. So let's say California were to succeed and become its own nation. Like,
Mhm.
how would California, for example, will be able like to protect itself, let's say, from being re-invaded from the United States? Because I know that that could create some type of a war. So like how would you as governor or how would you as part of your political party, if California goes independent, is able to protect its sovereignty in the United States? That's my question to you.
Well, I mean, I think that actually, in my mind, that the question comes from the 1860s, right? It comes from the American Civil War. That was over 200 years ago. The actual breakup of states seceding from other parts of other countries, that comes from more the 20th century. We saw that with the Soviet Union. We saw that with
Mhm.
their KGB military industrial complex completely dissolving. There wasn't any kind of bloodshed or anything like that. So we can actually have a system where we can use economic power in this day and age to actually press back. I don't believe whatsoever it would ever go to violence. And also, too, the only reason why we did have violence during the Civil War was because the rebel states, which were slave-owning pigs, went after the
Mhm.
federal government and attacked them first. Why would we
Mhm.
ever do that? So we
Mhm.
have the means to actually protect ourselves more economically, like through a general strike, or actually making sure that we can actually press back against anything they do, because it's kind of hard to justify a war against people here at home. I mean, they can do that to certain groups, they can do that to Venezuela, but it's a harder thing to start bombing Los Angeles and San Francisco into submission, especially again, if you're trying to have any semblance of constitutionalism. So I don't believe that would actually be the case. We could use economic pressure. We can basically cut the jugular of the economy at the port of Long Beach and Los Angeles, and that would already cause a massive, pushback. But would it actually get to that? I don't know. The 20th century is replete with, countries actually separating peacefully, the Soviet Union, or actually in the kind of an otter case, Singapore basically being kicked out of the Malaysian Federation. This is all
Right.
happening.
Mhm. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much.
That was my question. Does anybody else does
Yeah,
anybody else have a question? Stephanie?
for me, yeah, my thing is more like, so my opposition towards Trump was because he kind of ran on a nationalism platform. Personally, I'm against nationalism. I'm not saying I'm against like pride of our culture or anything like that, but it's just it can be exploited for in authoritarian ways. And so also California, while it is the most diverse state in the country, um, it has some very similar issues to the federal government that we're seeing. We've never even had a female governor. We haven't had, you know, a black governor. So like there's the issues are still present even within our state. So while I applaud the whole progressive politics or the policies because I am for those progressive policies, I have a hard time believing like that California is going to magically be able to be a leader in that when it has failed to do so. We have housing issues, same as across the board in the country. So it's frustrating.
Sure. I mean, thank you for the question. I mean, just to give you a little background on us, why we have the name CNP, California National Party, right? It's based on the Scottish National Party. And that party is nothing about ethnicity or anything like that. I mean, their last first minister, which would be the equivalent of governor, was of, I believe, Pakistani or Indian descent. So again, this is not blood and soil nationalism. This is definitely not. This is civic nationalism in that we are trying to strive for a better country. Now, when it comes to your issue again, like, we still have the same problems in certain ways about the federal government. Well, we can actually start, especially if I actually got into Sacramento, we can start by having a state constitutional convention to change a lot that can actually happen right now. We can have proportional representation to have other parties have a voice. We can break up, again, the monopoly of money that comes through from all these corporations. We could do more public financing. We could do a whole overhaul even before independence to make sure we break down a lot of these obstacles and barriers to people of color, women, etc. And I know for a fact that we could do that faster here in California, even before independence. That will never actually happen in the United States. I mean, a Republican Senate is never going to go for certain things. We know that everyone's discussing with the Electoral College. They're never going to change that. There's not going to be a constitutional amendment that's ever going to be helping out people in any which regard. So we can start here at home, start with the new state constitution convention, and we can also make sure that everyone does have a voice through that mechanism and actually really starting that out. And then also when it comes to any kind of other issues about the state, I mean, we can handle much things a lot better here at home than say a red state that's occupied and controlled by all these Republican parties that have very sick agendas, have a Christian nationalism. We don't have that issue here. I mean, most of Californians are on the same page. For example, when you have like the Prop 50, right? How overwhelming that was against Trump. Now, not everyone who voted that way is a socialist, any part of the left. They could be just a loose Democrat, but there's people who are already moving away from the paradigm of American politics. We're done with all that. We don't want that anymore.
5 minutes.
All right. Thank you so much, Sean. That sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And, after this, I'll send out the